suffered a fracture in his upper left shoulder. That's his non-throwing shoulder. Tim, I'll start with you. How far can the Browns go?
Well, I think without Baker, I think they can still make the playoffs. I think with Baker, I think you have a recipe if everything comes together. And I mean everything, meaning Baker and Odell, this defense. I still think they have a shot to be a Super Bowl contender, make it to there. I think they have the recipe, right? They're different than every other team because they'll play in 13 personnel. They have 3 really good tight ends. They have explosive playmakers on the outside. Now, they haven't always connected this season, but they have that ability. Then on defense, they can get to the quarterback. And when you have that recipe, you can beat every team. The same recipe they had last year, except they have more pieces to that puzzle now. And so when you look at them, they haven't been perfectly in sync all year, but they have the recipe to be successful, to be able to beat teams like the Chargers, like the Chiefs, like the Bills. They have that recipe if it all comes together. So I still like this Cleveland Browns team.
Well, you go ahead and like him, Tim Tebow. You go ahead, right ahead and like him. I mean, to me personally, guess what they're going to do? How far can they go? Exactly where they were going. You understand? They have a chance to make the playoffs, and they're going to go home. It's really, really that simple, okay? Whether in the end, I look at the Browns, and I look at the Browns as a team that a lot of people hyped up. Are they a good team, Tim Tebow? Yes. They're not great. They got great running backs, but they're not great. And as a result, because of the conference they're playing in, with at least 3 teams who are great. And, listen, we look at the Chiefs. We ain't sleeping on them, even though they're 3-3. Now you got Buffalo. You got the Baltimore Ravens. Look, man, I'm just looking at them right now.
Yep.
Cleveland's not a part of the mix to me. They're just not.
Yeah, and you have the Chargers. I get that. But look at the way they played the Chiefs. Look at the way they played the Chargers. This team, they have the recipe to be successful. I also like it because they're different. When a team is preparing for the Browns, it's totally different than the Bills, than the Chiefs, than the Chargers. And I think that is a strength for this team. Is you have to show up and you have to put on your big boy pants. You have to play 13 personnel. You have to stop 3 tight ends. It is a physical game. Like, they didn't have their playmakers being playmaker-ish last night, and they still dominated the game because of this running game, because they can get to the quarterback, and that is very scary if you have to play this team. Now, what happens, Stephen A., if all of a sudden you see Odell start to take it to the next level? What happens if Baker plays a little bit more consistent? What happens if you have Jarvis and Odell? Yeah, but you're not saying the ifs on the other team. There's a lot of ifs on Kansas City right now. There's even ifs in Buffalo. There's ifs in Tennessee. There's ifs in Baltimore, right? There's ifs on all those teams. And so what I try to do is step back and look at it and say, if they can get hot at the right time, who could this team be, right? Because it doesn't matter week 7, week 8. That's right now when we hype it up because that's what the media does. It's what can they be if they can come together as a team in week 17, 18, in January and February. That's the difference.
Hey, buddy. Let me tell you something, Tim Tebow. I'm glad you said that because, you said the media, like you ain't a part of it. Yes, you are. That's number 1. And number 2, Tim Tebow, you also said it like we hype up other people. I recall somebody on the air named Tim Tebow with me a few Fridays ago hyping up them Florida Gators. You ain't hyping them up now, though, but you were hyping them up a few weeks ago.
You just need to go. Hey, listen. You need to... Hey, the difference is we put things in context. And in that argument, it was in context of Florida versus Alabama in the swamp. And by the way, your boy was right, all right? So you just need to calm down about that.
Next week about Ole Miss?
Hey, we didn't put a bet on that. And we didn't put a bet on last week, Florida versus LSU. You didn't bring that up, okay? Hey, listen, put it in context, man.
Kentucky.
Hey, anything out of context is wrong, all right? You got to put things in context. You know what I'm saying?
All right. I feel you on that. All right, we'll go with that. All I'm saying is this, though. Listen, it ain't nothing to brag about being a giant in a small man's contest. Denver was overrated. They were 3-0. Everybody was getting hyped about them. And they've come crashing down to earth. And we've realized what they're not. That's who Cleveland beat last night. So let's put it in perspective.
All right, well, their next 4, they have the Steelers, Bengals, Patriots, and Lions. So they are all winnable. Yeah, they are. They're not easy, but except for the Lions. But they're all winnable.
That's true.
All right, let's move on here.
Hey, you want to be the guys that everybody's going for because you're gonna get the best shot from everybody, and that's gonna make you great in the end. And so I think the guys understand that. We know that we're gonna get a great game every single week, and we have to come prepared to battle every single week, and that makes us better in the end.
Okay, Tim, I got an interesting one for you. Who would you rather have, Mahomes or Henry?
Can I get both of them? But right now, if I have the person that is dominating the most at their position compared to the rest of the NFL is Derrick Henry. So I would pick Derrick Henry because Derrick Henry, what he is doing right now is different than any other running back. And yes, there's a difference between running backs and quarterbacks are more valuable. But who is dominating at their position the most, maybe the most in the NFL, is Derrick Henry.
It's fluid. I mean, as we're talking about right now, not necessarily 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month from now.
For sure.
Right now, that's what he's talking about. See, it's fluid. So I'm not the only one that believes in things being fluid. Tim Tebow believes in that as well.
Things can change. I agree with that. Always.
There we go. Having said all of that, come on, bro. This is Patrick Mahomes we talking about here. This is Patrick Mahomes, all right? I mean, we ain't just talking about some, okay? And as a result of having that awful defense, he's engaged in some hero ball, trying to come to the rescue and do a little bit something extra because he feels compelled to do so because he can't rely on his defense to stop anybody. That's all that's going on with Patrick Mahomes. Things will get even better, and we know that. And you know you're going to take a quarterback of his magnitude. As great as Derrick Henry is over
if I was taking any player in the draft right now, if you could pick anybody, I'm taking Patrick Mahomes over everybody else in the NFL. But if you're just talking about this weekend, which we need to put things in context, Stephen A., this weekend, I think Derrick Henry is going to have a big one.
Yeah, that's because what do you think Patrick Mahomes is going to do against the Titans defense?
Okay,
what do you think Derrick's going to do against Kansas City's defense?
He went for about 180 yards. Okay. Yeah, about 180.
That's pretty good.
They're both going to ball. Let's go to Mr. and Mr. It's fluid. So the Titans are 4-2. The Chiefs are 3-3. I'll start with you, Tim. Which team do you trust more right now?
I trust Kansas City more. I trust Kansas City more because I think when they can shore up a few things on their defense, to Stephen A's point, you have Patrick Mahomes, you have Tyreek Hill, you have Andy Reid, you have an offense that for years, no one has truly figured out. Yes, they've been slowed down at times here or there, and the Bucs did in the Super Bowl. But for the most part, no one has figured Andy Reid out. No one has been able to consistently stop him. So I trust Andy Reid with Patrick Mahomes and those playmakers because I think they'll figure out just enough by the end of the year on defense to still make a run at it.
There's no disagreement here with that. We agree there about Kansas City. What I think is important to be said, however, and Molly, to your credit, you brought this up, and I'm not interested in giving you too much credit these days because I think she's been totally cruel to me, Tim Tebow. I think she's been totally cruel to me. She's been ganging up with everybody on me constantly.
That is not true. She always has your back, man. What are you talking about?
I'm out. Tim. 6 years I've lasted in this seat. 6 years with
lasted. You prospered, okay?
No,
you
prospered.
Okay,
prospered.
that's right.
But I'm saying it takes a special woman.
Yes,
and I don't like to compliment myself. I don't like to compliment myself.
See what she said? See what she's doing, Tim? Who said she wasn't special? Who said she wasn't special? I call Molly special all the time. All I'm trying to say is that she gangs up on me, even though she did give me a beautiful facial for my birthday. You see how good I look? That's because of Molly. Molly got me a beautiful facial, so she deserves credit for that.
Listen, Stephen A.
Yes,
you know what? Sometimes people that really care about you have to share the truth and love, and she does a great job, you know? Not everybody always tells you the truth, but Molly has to a little bit because she truly cares about you, okay?
You know, you are sickening, man. You really are. Oh, my Lord.
We see eye to eye here.
Let me say this real quick about the Tennessee Titans. Thank you. Vrabel. I like Vrabel. I really do.
No doubt.
But his background is defense. Why has this Titans defense been struggling so much? Especially against the pass. They're like 24th against the pass. Let me tell you something. You got to fix that. Vrabel, to me, I just like him. I think he knows what he's doing, but it's just that this year with this defense, they got to be better. And I think Patrick Mahomes is going to eat him up, son. He's going to eat him up this weekend. He's going to eat him up.
All right, we shall see. Everyone, Steph Curry said, y'all must have forgot. See? Tim does watch. Did you see Chef Curry with the shot? His 45-point night versus the LA Clippers leaves the Golden State Warriors in awe, including 2 game-defining three-pointers in the final 2 minutes to help secure the win. Steve Kerr just running out of adjectives.
Even though we've all been here watching it, I'm still blown away. There's never been anybody like him, and not just the shooting range, but just the competitiveness and the guts and just amazing player. What a game he had.
Once you saw the first couple go in, it was just staying aggressive. Same thing I try to do all the time. I don't know if I've had a perfect start like that before, but it was just a good flow from the jump. And have fun out there.
Like that blazer, too, with the white detail. Stephen A., are folks sleeping on Steph and the Warriors?
They are. And I've been on the record, KP, on many occasions bringing up the Warriors because I've been of the mindset that if Klay Thompson comes back healthy, the Warriors are going to the conference finals. I'd like to modify that. If Klay Thompson comes back healthy, Kendrick Perkins, the Warriors might win it all. I really mean it. I'm not playing with anybody. Let me tell you something right now. Maybe one day Steve Kerr will admit that after going to 5 straight NBA finals and winning 3 championships that he'd probably be retired if he wasn't coaching Steph Curry. Because Steph Curry is the kind of person that will stretch your career because all of a sudden you don't mind going to work. It's just like you doing what you do, KP, me doing what we do. I do. You know what? We love what we do, so it doesn't feel like work. And as a result, because it doesn't feel like work, we think we could do this for a lengthier period of time. That's what Steve Kerr is really speaking about right now. Steph Curry is the greatest shooter God ever created. I don't care what anybody says. There has never, ever been a dude off the dribble, standing still, from the key, from the wings, from the corner, 20, 30, 40, sometimes 50 feet. This brother is unbelievable, okay? And when I think about him, and then I think about Klay coming back, who is one of the top 5 shooters in the history of basketball. Let's throw that up in there, right? Then we think about the rest of this crew. I'm looking at Jordan Poole. Brother could play, averaging 14 and a half a game. Brother could play. Andrew Wiggins, he's no slouch. He has shown up thus far. I'm thinking about Wiseman coming back. I'm thinking about the pickup of Otto Porter, who coaches have been telling me, KP, they've been raving about Otto Porter. I know we saw him on Shaq and the Fool, which is the most funniest. It's the funniest Shaq and the Fool skit ever when Otto Porter just standing on the wing and forget for 5 years ago. Hilarious.
Stephen A., we all been there. We all been on there.
Really?
I've been on there.
Hold on. You've been on there. I've been on there. But wait a minute. None of us was caught standing still while a guy we were defending ran to the opposite side of the court. I mean, that's an all-timer. But Otto Porter is smart. He's a veteran. I'm just looking at this roster right now. The Warriors may win it all. They may win it all this year. It all comes down to the health of Klay Thompson. That's where I'm at, KP.
You know what, Stephen A., is so hard to argue with you on that point, right? But here's my argument. I do have the Golden State Warriors getting to the Western Conference. I say that, they have enough talent. We all know how special.
Western Conference
Western
Finals?
Conference Finals.
Okay, you said Western Conference. I'm saying I just wanted to make sure you said Finals. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, Western Conference Finals. And we know how special Steph Curry is. And what I'm watching about the Warriors is their culture. And we know about the Lakers. But it's one team that we're sleeping on right now. It's one team that we're sleeping on. And before I get to that team, let me tell you why I wouldn't pick the Warriors to win it all. Because Draymond Green is not the Draymond Green of old. He still has the high IQ, but his talent has taken a step down, right? He looked like a tight end playing basketball last night. I mean, he looked horrible. But past that, the Utah Jazz are over there just sitting there quiet. The Utah Jazz. And people are sleeping on them. I know last year it didn't end well for them. Mike Conley was hurt in and out of the lineup. But when you look at what they have, they're not lacking at anything. They have rim protection. They have a lob threat in Rudy Gobert. They have Donovan Mitchell, who is a superstar, a walking bucket. Now you pair him alongside Mike Conley, Bogdanovich, who knocked down 3 after 3. You have Joe Ingles, who does all the little things and could shoot the lights out. And then you bring it in Jordan Clarkson, the 6th man of the year, former 6th man of the year from last year. So when I look at the Golden State Warriors, it wouldn't be surprised me if they happen to get to the finals. I wouldn't be surprised. But what I'm telling you, I would not jump on the limb and say, even with a healthy Klay, that they could win the title. They can't win the title because Draymond Green has taken a step back offensively. He used to, remember Stephen A., he had some big moments where Draymond Green used to get 25, 30 points. Yeah, a lot of those games. And we haven't saw that Draymond in a long time.
Let me come back at you with that a couple of things. I'm glad you brought this up because basketball talking, you know I love it. Here's the deal. I'm going to tell you why I think you're wrong. First of all, there's no doubt that Draymond Green took a step back, but I don't think he's incapable of taking a step forward. What we're really talking about is he lost his shot. Over the last 2 or 3 years, Draymond Green ain't shooting the damn basketball well, but that's about it. When I see his athleticism, when I see his motor, when I see his defensive tenacity and abilities, I don't see shrinkage there. It's just that he's not making shots. He got to get in the gym and continue to work on improving his perimeter shot. That's a tall ask. I get that. But that's it. What I would also say to you, KP, is this. They won a title with Andrew Bogut. They won a title with Zsa Pachulia, okay? I don't care. James Wiseman, he comes back healthy with Looney as a backup, with Jordan Poole, with Andrew Wiggins, all right, with the Otto Porters of the world, with Damian Lee. Let's not forget him. I think they got a shot. Now, let me get to your point about Utah. I love me some Donovan Mitchell. And please, I would ask that if you got any love for me whatsoever, KP, please don't bring up Donovan Mitchell because the Knicks should have drafted him. Remember, I was in New York, Kendrick Perkins, and I was screaming for the New York Knicks to draft this dude, all right? And they didn't draft him. They drafted Frank Ntilikina. Don't get me started, okay? Don't get me started. I'm in a good mood. I don't feel like being aggravated. But really, I mean, when I think about Donovan Mitchell at Madison Square Garden, my God. And that's what they passed up on. Now, the rest of his crew, they can play. I'm a Clarkson fan. I think he is who he is no matter where he goes. The rest of them, man, I covered that whole Clippers series, man. I'm just... They disappoint me come postseason time. I just don't believe in Utah. I believe in Donovan Mitchell. I don't believe in Utah.
But let me say this to you, Stephen A. Experience matters, especially in this Western Conference that they have with the teams like the Lakers, the Nuggets, the Suns, the Jazz. Experience matters, right? Andrew Wiggins, he don't have that much playoff experience. Jordan Poole, not that much playoff experience. And we talk about James Wiseman, but we only seen the sample size, and his sample size really didn't live up to the hype like we expected it to. He still have a lot of growing to do. When you talk about guys like Andrew Bogut, you talk about guys like JaVale McGee, you have to go back and watch. Those guys were vital to the Warriors' success, being a lob threat at the basket, protecting the rim, anchoring that defense. Because God knows if Draymond Green happens to get in foul trouble, which is a strong possibility with the bigs that you have to guard the West with, Jokic and Anthony Davis, if he gets into foul trouble, who are you going to lean on? That's my thing. I'm a big man. I always harp on interior defense. You got to have a big in order to win the championship. Giannis and Brook Lopez was the bigs for the Milwaukee Bucks last year.
All right, let's leave it on that note because
Sure.
It's time for your daily Philly update where there's no brotherly love. So here's the latest on Ben Simmons in that Sixers saga. Our Adrian Wojnarowski reporting that Simmons left the team's practice facility on Thursday without working out and is expected to meet with organizational leadership this morning to again discuss his murky playing status. Sources telling ESPN the Sixers host the Nets tonight on ESPN. GM Daryl Morey, what do you do now?
Right now, any sort of trade, which obviously Ben Simmons wants, the best thing we can do is get role players back. That makes no sense. People should buckle in. I mean, this is going to go a long time because our only path, my only job is to help us give the best chance to win the title. Ben Simmons is a difference maker, so if we can get him back, he will help us win the title. If we can trade Ben Simmons for a difference maker, we will do it. You're going to think I'm kidding. I'm not. This could be 4 years.
Kendrick, talk to me.
You know, Miley, I'm exhausted with this whole situation, okay? And it's so toxic from both parts, right? I feel like when you're going through this type of thing, you should try to keep this in-house as much as possible. And I love Daryl Morey. Daryl Morey is a close friend of mine. We communicate often. But for him to do radio interviews right now at this moment about the situation, I don't like it, right? And I'm also cool, and I have a great relationship with Rich Paul. right? And I tell Rich Paul, hey, man, listen, I don't like the way that Ben Simmons is handling this situation. The man showed up to practice with a cell phone in his pocket. You know, it's a certain type of professionalism that you got to have about yourself. And here's the problem that I have on another note. People are looking at Ben Simmons and saying, you know what? It's all Rich Paul. No, it's not Rich Paul. Rich Paul, his job is to make sure that he give his client advice. If his client don't accept it, he has to back up his client and support his client on whatever he wants to do. Now, I will say this, Stephen A., Molly, in my opinion, this is bigger. This is bigger than just the 76ers and Ben Simmons. This is coming to the level of owners versus players, right? Because if anybody out there in the world think for one moment that that owners around the league are not talking about this situation in-house and telling the ownership of the Philadelphia 76ers to stand their ground, they're crazy. This is about making a statement more so than anything else.
Well, there's a couple of layers to what you're saying. I'll take it one by one, the latter part that you mentioned. Yesterday, a high-ranking league official says to me, Kendrick Perkins, he texts me, quote, Ben Simmons' actions will have a negative impact on player empowerment at the bargaining table. You just wait and see. So that's just to buffer the point that you just made. You see, one of the things, if you remember, and before I get into Ben Simmons, it's very, very important that I bring this up because a lot of people didn't get this. When LeBron James, years ago, Kendrick Perkins, and put Kendrick up on the screen, please, because I want to see him when I'm saying this. When LeBron James announced that he was taking his talents to South Beach, remember the firestorm that created? I'm not talking about with fans. I'm not talking about folks in Cleveland. I'm talking about amongst ownership. And I'm not even talking about just Dan Gilbert. You had a lot of owners that were turned off because Dan Gilbert was never given the heads up. And they had a problem with how LeBron James handled his departure from Cleveland. Now, we might not have a problem with it because LeBron James showed up to work every day. He was the star. He carried the mantle. He practiced. He played. He did all the things the right way, except that. Why was that relevant? Because a collective bargaining negotiation was coming up. Remember, CP3 had gotten traded to the Lakers, and somehow that deal got nixed because David Stern was and the league office were the de facto owners because they were looking for new ownership in New Orleans. So CP3 was supposed to go to the Lakers, and the deal ended up getting nixed because owners were complaining. A collective bargaining agreement followed thereafter. Basketball-related income was trimmed from 57% to 50% on behalf of the players, taking away millions. A lot of people, even though they were coming for that anyway, a lot of people pointed to player empowerment per se as an excuse for the fervor that they put forth towards the negotiating table. Now, true or not, they tried to use LeBron James as an example, who is as model of a citizen and a superstar as it gets. And they used him as leverage. What the hell you think they're going to do when it comes to Ben Simmons? Okay? So now we get to Ben Simmons specifically. Certainly we can't sit up there and blame Rich Paul. It's not his fault. This is Ben Simmons. It is your job, however, as an agent to try to coax your guy into doing good business. Once you sign a deal and you got 4 years and $147 million, even though it's not Rich Paul's fault, we can't completely absolve him from the situation in terms of influencing his client to make better decisions so you can ultimately get that client what he wants. That is an obligation that he has that is yet to be fulfilled. Ben Simmons is the major culprit in all of this because he's coming across as a big baby who just doesn't want to go in front of those Philadelphia fans. He's scared to death of the reaction and the retribution they will exact against him because he's coming across as if his performance against Atlanta was their fault. The other element in the room, the elephant in the room, that is a big element, he don't like Joel Embiid. And I think we've learned crystal clearly, I might add, if Joel Embiid don't like him, nor does he respect him. He considers him a big baby and a brat, and he ain't interested in babysitting. He wouldn't even acknowledge his name when he says, I don't care about that man. And then, of course, you've got Daryl Morey, who, by the way, here's the part I disagree with you about, KP. I was the one that called Daryl Morey out a couple of days ago. Where the hell are you? The reason why I wanted him to do interviews was because of this one reason and one reason only, KP. What the hell is Doc Rivers doing talking? This is Daryl Morey. You're the president of basketball operations. You're the one that's got to make a deal. Now, if Doc Rivers and them weren't talking about it, that's different. But when Doc Rivers got to come out front and center to speak about things, he ain't the one on the phone that got to make a deal for Ben Simmons. That's Daryl Morey. So I appreciate Daryl Morey going on my man Mike Missinelli's show in Philadelphia and saying what he said, because we needed to hear from Daryl Morey. Now that we've heard from him, it's clear. Ben Simmons ain't going no damn place unless they get the right deal for him, because they ain't going to give him away for 20 cents on the dollar. And Ben Simmons, as a result, in all likelihood, is either going to have to sit out and lose money, or he's going to be forced to come back and do the one thing he don't want to do, and that's face that Philadelphia crowd.
Stephen A. Molly, when we had this conversation about two or 3 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
What did I say, right? I said about the CBA. I said that the owners were going to be waiting 3 or 4 years from now about the CBA. And you know what's so messed up? You know the thing that disappointed me the most is that, and I'm going to say this, it had guys that came before Ben Simmons that played their role to the T to make sure that he was able to sign $150+ million on the contract. It's Ben Simmons' job, along with everybody else that is in the NBA, to make sure that they continue to do their part as being a true professional, so that the next generation that's coming up under them could get the same type of opportunity to make the same type of money. That's what frustrates me the most about Ben Simmons in this situation. I don't care that he want to get out of Philly. My grandpa always used to tell me,
Mike McCarthy would be the biggest reason or issue why the Cowboys potentially wouldn't make the Super Bowl.
First of all, it wouldn't be a First Take Friday if we didn't somehow get the Cowboys in here and somehow you know Stephen A. could just throw a couple of jabs. I don't know what you're more frustrated about right now, Stephen A. Is that you're back in New York and you're having to bundle up a little bit and you're not in L.A., or the Cowboys are actually winning? Do you know which one is it?
They're both struggling.
It's the latter. It's the latter. I mean, it is sick. And I was boarding a flight the other day, and this dude is you know, he's working on working outside. You know, they I don't know if it's maintenance or whatever.
This wasn't at an FBO where you're taking your own plane?
No, I wasn't. No, it's not like that. I'm not Tim Tebow. That would be you. But the point is this: the man said, "How about them Cowboys?" I swear, I want to throw something at him. This is what I have to go through. This is what I'm looking for. But their time is coming. Trust me. It's coming.
Yeah. But let's get back to Molly's question. No, I don't think the biggest reason they won't make it is because Mike McCarthy. I think it's because Tom Brady and the Bucs are a better. You're right about how the Cardinals are playing. You're right about Kyler Murray. He should be talked about for an MVP right now. Their two running backs are running so hard. Their defense is playing physical. You can't look at them and say there's a big weakness on this team. I like the Cardinals. But are you the question is not about right now. It's about the end of the year and who's going to get in the way of the Cowboys for a Super Bowl.
Let me explain.
Right? And you're telling me that you think the Cardinals are going to jump ahead of the Bucs in making that argument.
Let me explain why. I believe the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be in the NFC Championship game. I don't think the Dallas Cowboys are going to sniff in that direction. I think the team like the Arizona Cardinals will be waiting for them before they get to the Buccaneers and knock them off. That's what I believe is going to happen.
No, I don't believe you. You said their time is coming. You know what I think? I think the best is yet to come, Stephen A. And I think it's just so fitting. It's lining up nicely. Aren't you seeing it? Dak returning from injury. We question Zeke. Is it Tony Pollard's time? No, it's not. Zeke is still there. It's at SoFi. You know, the offseason, they're up there in Oxnard. Don't you think it's just fitting us at Disneyland, Super Bowl, and the Cowboys fans are all around us? Tim might even fly out for that.
No doubt. I think Stephen A. starting to sweat. I think Stephen A. starting to sweat, and it's not because that sweater, you know. It's just when he's thinking about the Cowboys actually winning, you know.
It's a bad blazer with a black shirt and a bad black
tie. Tim already complimented it. You don't need to re-compliment it.
Number two, you know what, Molly? I'm getting my sisters on you. You know what? I'm the youngest of 6. I got 4 older sisters. I'm getting them on her because I can't deal with mine. I'm going to get them on her, okay? Because I can't take this anymore. It's such betrayal that's going on this show. Molly is just trying to stick it to me every chance she gets. That's what she's doing,
Stephen
Tim.
A., look
That's
at
what
me.
she's
Look
doing.
at me right now. Do you believe it's the Arizona Cardinals that are going to ruin it for the Cowboys?
Yes.
Really? That's
Yes.
what you believe?
Yes.
You can't even. You're a bad actor right now. I thought you were a thespian on General Hospital.
I'm
Why is your
But,
lip curling?
Here's the deal.
Because you don't believe it. You know it's a new day. It's a different day in Dallas, and I'm a Giants fan.
Hold on. You think I believe that the Arizona Cardinals can't beat the Dallas Cowboys? Are you crazy? I absolutely believe they can beat the Cowboys.
You don't think they're the reason why they're not going to the Super Bowl? You don't believe that?
No. I'm saying that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be in the NFC Championship game, but before they get there, before Dallas gets there, they got to run into somebody else. And whether it's Green Bay or Arizona or the Rams, they're going to get taken out before they get to the NFC Championship game. That's what I'm saying. I don't understand what the confusion is. I really don't, Tim.
Hey, by the way, I think that we should throw this in there. We need to remember Mike McCarthy does have an NFL championship ring. He won a Super Bowl with Green Bay. And I know it was with the bad man Aaron Rodgers, but he's done it before.
Yeah.
He's done it before.
Championship
because of his
pedigree.
archaic tendencies, which will come rearing its ugly head at the right time. That's what's going to happen. Please.
Tim.
Dallas ain't winning a damn thing. Nothing. They're done.
Oh,
So
man.
y'all watch. They just got a cupcake schedule right now.
Hey, Stephen, it's still a beautiful
well.
Friday. At least here it is. So, we don't need to get too angry right now. It's okay.
I'm not
It'll be okay.
Tim only goes to Warm City.
He only goes to Warm City, but listen.
Tim is gold.
I know
for
this
Stephen
much.
A.
Mississippi ain't G Vegas. I know that.
Well, that's true.
I know that.
All right. Tim, great to have you as always. We'll talk
Appreciate
to you
you,
next
bro.
week. Enjoy the games.
See you guys.
All right.
Still to come on First Take, Twitter had some disagreements on the NBA 75 list. That's for sure. Perk and Stephen A. on their biggest snubs. Don't miss that. They've so much fun. Just so easy to mess with you. It's so great. I love my job. Still to come on First Take, Mr. Ryan Clark himself joins us here shortly to debate Stephen A. on his biggest surprises in the NFL this season. Is it Kyler or Joe Burrow or perhaps a mystery team? Plus, Shaq called LeBron the GOAT. Do Perk and Stephen A. agree with that phrase? And Perk with a take on Ben Simmons you will want to hear. Trust me. Keep it locked. So the Western Conference champs travel to Staples to face the Lakers, who are looking to bounce back after their season opener to step in the Warriors. Bron and AD balled, but the Russell Westbrook edition still a work in progress, normally averaging a triple-double, putting up single digits in every statistical category. Kendrick Perkins, can you hear me, sir? There he is. Yes, he can. Perk, I'll start with you. Is this LeBron's most challenging path to a title?
Hell no, Molly. No, and no. And anybody think different is crazy. I'm here to tell you right now.
I'm crazy, damn it.
The biggest challenge.
We know that.
Yeah, we already know that. We already know that. So that just just from hearing your tone, I know you about to disagree with me, and I knew we couldn't go a whole show without getting into it. So I'm ready to make some hamburgers because I got beef. Listen, when LeBron James went back to Cleveland, okay?
Right.
That was his hardest path. Remember, Dan Gilbert, he called the man a Benedict Arnold when he left to go to South Beach. You know, I was in that locker room, not when he won the title, but I was there the 2 years before then when he had lost to Golden State, And do you know how hard it is being in the locker room when a guy, your franchise guy, the face of the league, and LeBron James and Dan Gilbert, the owner, don't even speak to one another? It's strictly business. So then you take it to this championship that he won against a 73-9 team, the Golden State Warriors, right? Arguably the best team that was ever assembled. I mean, it was 73-9. Being down 3-1 in the NBA Finals. And LeBron James came and walked that down and won the championship. That was his hardest path and will be his hardest path ever in his career.
Oh, please. That is utterly ridiculous. First of all, let me tell you something right now. I got a new nickname for you. It's affectionate, though, because it's beautiful. I'm just looking at the way you look right now. Santa Perk. That works for me with the beard and the whole bit. I mean, if you put on the Santa Claus outfit, Santa Perk. That's what we gonna go to Santa Perk. That's what we gonna call you from now on, or Uncle Perk. Either way works. But here's the deal. I get where you coming from, bro, because you brought in the emotion and the LeBron James, the Dan Gilbert relationship. You obviously is intimately involved in it. You know all about that stuff. I get all of that. Here's the flip side to it. I took the liberty, Kendrick Perkins, of hearkening back to what road LeBron James had to go through in order to win the chip. So we got the Detroit Pistons that they took out in 4 games. They weren't much back in 2016. You know that. Then after that, it was the Atlanta Hawks. Before Trae Young got to town, they weren't much to brag home about. We know that. Then you had the Toronto Raptors. Now with Kawhi Leonard, with DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry and those boys. And you know LeBron had their number for years. The road to prosperity, it wasn't that tough. Now, when you went against Golden State, that's different. Here's my issue. You know good and damn well if Kendrick Perkins hadn't got suspended. You understand what I'm saying? In that game 4, when LeBron dropped him on the floor and Kendrick Perkins kicked his feet up, but because he had kicked his feet up one too many times in the postseason, Adam Silver in the NBA decides to give LeBron James a damn stimulus package, suspending Draymond Green for that game 5. Andrew Bogut and Iguodala got hurt in game 5. They weren't any good for the rest of the series, and as a result, even when Draymond came back, they were handicapped. Golden State should have took them out at 5. Now we get to now, and this is why I completely disagree with you. You see what's going on in the Western Conference, my brother. You see what's going on. When LeBron James went to Miami, your road was Indiana. When you went to Cleveland with Kyrie and Kevin Love, your road was Golden State. Now that you in L.A., you got Golden State as a problem. You saw the Clippers last night, and that was without Kawhi Leonard. I got news for you. With Ty Lue, who you recognize and I recognize as arguably the best coach in basketball, you got him to go through. You got Phoenix, the reigning Western Conference champions. We can't sniff at them. I'm looking at you got Utah that you just finished blowing up. Jamal Murray is going to be back for Denver with the Joker and Michael Porter Jr., who's ascended. And I'm not going to just summarily dismiss Portland. I know Dallas looked awful last night. I'm certainly not going to count them as a title contender, but they make Luka makes some noise. You never know. When you look at all of these damn teams in the Western Conference and what you got to deal with during the regular season, just to position yourself appropriately for postseason action, that's where I get in terms of, all right, the road ain't going to be easier for LeBron.
Well, answer this for me, Stephen A.
Sure.
Answer this.
Who
has the best roster in the Western Conference? Out of all those teams you name, who has the best roster?
Right now, it's the Lakers.
Yeah, for sure, right? 6 future Hall of Famers.
Okay.
6 future Hall of Famers.
Okay.
You're talking about LeBron James and Anthony Davis, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's 2 players that are arguably top 10 players in today's game.
No,
okay?
I think both of them are easily top 6. Top 6, yes.
Okay, yeah, in the top 10, because Anthony Davis go fall at 6, so they put him in the top 10, right? And then you have Russell Westbrook, which one could argue puts him in the top 15, okay? And then you have Carmelo Anthony, you have Rajon Rondo, you have Dwight Howard, you have everything in the world. They have the best roster. They should be able to beat everybody. You know why? Because they're stacked, right? So one could argue that this might be the most talented roster that LeBron James has ever had. So that's why I'm going to go against your argument about how strong the Western Conference is, because this is the most help that he's had since he's been playing.
Well, it's relative, because the bottom line is he might have had less help when he was in Cleveland or when he was in Miami, but they were still the favorites. They still had the better talent. They were still the creme de la creme that everybody was shooting for. So what I'm saying to you is that I'm looking at the level of competition. You're looking at the roster he's playing with. I'm looking at the competition. When he was in Miami, it was Indiana with Paul George and the crew. When he was in Cleveland, it was Golden State, because there wasn't really anybody in the East that could mess with them. Now that he's in the West, I gave you 5 teams. I gave you Utah. I gave you the Clippers. I gave you Phoenix. I gave you Denver. Okay? And I'm just saying to you, you can't ignore that reality. There are more teams there to give them a run for their money. He's always been, in terms of those situations in Miami, Cleveland, and this season, those championship years, he's always been the team to beat in his respective conference. The difference is now you don't just have one team. You got multiple teams that got a chance to make some noise against him.
All right.
You know I'm going to get you back, though.
I know you're going to get me back because I got you on this one. It's all right.
Yeah,
Santa
no. I wasn't talking about the argument. I'm talking about the Santa Claus. The Santa Claus look. I'm going to get you back. I'm going to get you back.
I think you look very handsome. You got the fresh shape up. I like it.
We didn't say
it very nice.
the brother looked bad.
I didn't think Santa
We
at
didn't
all.
say the brother looked bad. He just looked like Santa Perk. That's all. We didn't say he looked bad.
Perk, I'm talking to you. So LeBron was obviously a part of the NBA 75th anniversary team, but some notable names left off. What was your biggest issue with that list, Perk?
Ooh, Molly, first of all, let me say this.
Okay.
Doing the top 75 list is hard as hell, okay? Because I did one, and it is hard. It took me 6 hours. But I will say this. I am so disappointed at this list because Dwight Howard gets disrespected so much, it's ridiculous, right? We all think about the Dwight Howard, when he played for Charlotte or when he played for Atlanta or towards the end of his career, now that he's been a role player playing for the Lakers. But we forget about that monster that was down there in Orlando. 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, leading the league in blocks damn near every season. 4-time rebounding champ. I mean, the guy was averaging 20 and 10. It was at one point when he was in Orlando, it was a discussion. We had a discussion about whether he was the best player in the NBA. And at that time, you had Kobe Bryant, you had LeBron James, you had multiple others, Dwayne Wade, and we were talking about, is Dwight Howard the best player? Now, talking about the top 75 list, if I'm going to add Dwight Howard, who am I taking off?
Okay.
I just don't see how you put Bill Walton on that list before Dwight Howard. That is the most disturbing thing I've seen in the last 6 months. The most disturbing thing I've seen in the last 6 months. Bill Walton on that list over Dwight Howard.
Okay, Perk.
I like that word, disturbing. Good choice.
Put Perk up on the screen, please. Put Perk on the screen, please. Because I have to see him when I say this. Perk, I'm going to forgive you, because, see, even though you big Perk, Uncle Perk and all that stuff, you are relatively younger than me. Let Stephen Naismith, Papa Smith speak a few words of wisdom. Let me sprinkle this on you, okay? You might not have been born when Bill Walton was with the Portland Trail Blazers and you saw him take out Dr. J and McGinnis and all of these boys. Bill Walton was special. The only reason why Bill Walton slid in a lot of people's eyes is because he was no Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he was no Wilt Chamberlain, and he was no Bill Russell. That's different because that's an elite, the elite of elite. But Bill Walton was one of the most dominant big men presence ever. Okay, that's number one. Number two, Dwight Howard, love Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard is a top 100 player in NBA history. Top 75 was hard, bro. Top 75. And I got to tell myself because I had a vote. And obviously, it took me. Took you 6 hours, Perk? I got to tell myself, bro, it took me 2 to 3 weeks. I was struggling. I kept going back and forth, back and forth. I was calling Hall of Famers. I was on the phone with them. I was going back and forth, debating stuff like that because of who you got to leave off, okay? I left. It breaks my heart because I love these brothers, and I think they top 100. But I had to leave off Vince Carter. I had to leave off Tracy McGrady. I damn sure wasn't leaving off AI. I tell you that much. I wasn't leaving off D-Wade. And I'll tell you who else I wasn't leaving off because this is my biggest beef with the team. I'm still looking because I want to make sure I'm not going blind because as I've gotten older, Kendrick Perkins, I have to confess, I have to wear reading glasses now. Kendrick Perkins, I gotta wear reading glasses. I can't just read no more, bro. I got to put on the reading glasses. You know, it's just, I got to put on. I'm looking for, you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't see Klay Thompson on this list. Three-time champion Klay Thompson. One of the top 5 shooters in NBA history, Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson, who's provided evidence over the last 2 years of what the Golden State Warriors are without Klay Thompson. That Klay Thompson, who was an elite defender while he was a top 5 shooter, en route to going to 5 straight NBA Finals and winning 3 chips. That guy is not on this list. That is a much, much bigger snub than Dwight Howard. And I'll take it a step further. What really bothers me is that Klay Thompson has now been snubbed twice. Do you know that the media, I wouldn't blame Klay Thompson if he never spoke to the media again in life. This brother was due to get, you know where I'm going. This brother, Molly, was due to get the max extension of over $220 million. The media didn't make him a third-team All-NBA. They picked Kemba Walker instead. No disrespect to Kemba, but they picked Kemba Walker instead. And Klay Thompson, the most he could get, according to the rules, CBA rules, the most he could get was $191 million or so. That media cost Klay Thompson $30 million. If that man never spoke to the media again, I wouldn't blame him. Now, I ain't talking about myself, because I damn sure voted for him. Tell you that much. Klay Thompson.
You see, Perk?
Molly,
Time to move on.
Molly, you know what that is?
Carry on.
You know what that is?
No.
That's how they used to dribble back in the day when Stephen A. said I wasn't born. Some of the guys on the list when they was dribbling the ball, and he wanted to put them on the list with that right hand. But I want to see that. Please.
Go
miss me with that.
He tried to use the old man card.
Molly, let me tell you something about Kendrick Perkins. He's not admitting. Kendrick respects history, and Kendrick respects the old heads.
Yeah.
I ask you one favor, my brother. Call them. Ask them about Bill Walton and get back to me.
Okay.
Ask them.
Okay, let's leave it there. I respect my elders every day.
Except me.
You're the only person. It was a joke. You're supposed to laugh.
By the way, you're a beautiful, beautiful leprechaun.
I have breaking news.
You're a beautiful leprechaun.
I have breaking news on Ben Simmons and his status.
Okay.
We're being serious here.
Yes.
Yeah, breaking news. We'll give that to you after the break. Stay here with us. Ryan Clark joins the festivities in a bit to answer who is the biggest surprise in the NFL this season. He and Stephen A. not seeing eye to eye. Again, breaking news on Ben Simmons, his status with the Sixers. We will give you all that and the reaction.
The Sixers have to move this guy.
He does not want to be there.
I don't care about that man. We really focus on just winning. He does whatever he wants. Our job is not to babysit somebody.
We're grown men here. Put our big boy pants on and we get on the floor and do what we do.
It's no fun, but you don't give up the fight that you can get it right. I want Ben to be playing. That's his job.
Breaking news into First Take this morning. This according to our Adrian Wojnarowski tweeting this. Ben Simmons met with Sixers medical professionals and Coach Doc Rivers today. He informed them he's not mentally ready to play to his expectations now. Sources telling ESPN he also talked to his teammates today. Simmons has to be evaluated now, and next steps will be based upon the determination of medical professionals. Again, sources telling ESPN. Kendrick Perkins back here with us. Stephen A., I'll start with you. Obviously, you guys have that game tonight, NBA Countdown, ESPN. We know the Nets are going to the Sixers. That's at 7:30 Eastern. What are your thoughts on this latest info?
You know, there are rare moments in this line of work, this business, where I wish I didn't have to say anything. But that's not what I signed up for. You have a subject to tackle and you have to tackle it. So I'll do that. But I'll do so reluctantly. And the reason I'm doing so reluctantly is because Molly and Perk, mental health is a very, very serious issue.
Yeah.
We know it. We get it. Our hearts go out to people who are suffering from it.
Absolutely.
We want to make sure we're not a part of that society who encouraged people to keep it underground. We want to encourage people to be honest and open about it, to be forthright and courageous in coming forward and really articulating what their concerns are so they can receive the help and assistance that they need. And I'm all for that. If it's legitimate. With most people who are not in the public eye, we usually get to take them at their word. I'm going to do the same with Ben Simmons. But I think it's important to articulate the point. I don't have to. Neither does Kendrick Perkins. Neither do you. Neither do Sixers fans out there. Because let's analyze what has happened. Ben Simmons told Doc Rivers, Daryl Morey, and the Sixers organization in July he wanted out. He didn't say anything about mental health. He went over at Rich Paul's house, met with them. He said, this is what I want to do. He didn't like what was going on the previous years before Doc Rivers arrived. My belief is he doesn't like Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid clearly doesn't like him. They also said Ben Simmons will go and play anywhere but Philadelphia. They didn't say mental health then. Months have passed. We didn't hear anything about any mental health issues. Then on top of it all, you come into camp. After staying away, you came into camp. You get thrown out of practice, your second practice. You say anything about mental health? When you were chilling in Calabasas, you didn't say nothing about mental health. But now that we got a game tonight in Philly where it's the first time you're supposed to show up in front of those fans who you came across as blaming for how you performed in Atlanta in the playoffs for the first time. That's what we're hearing. I am not qualified to judge him negatively. I have to take him at his word. But I want to caution folks about something. This issue of mental health is incredibly, incredibly important. And there are millions of people in this country and in this world that are legitimately going through stuff and suffering because of it. All I'm imploring Ben Simmons, if that truly is what's happening with you, my brother, I wish you nothing but the best. Do what you got to do. Get yourself together so you can have the prosperous career you deserve because you're a jump shot away from being LeBron James 2.0. You're that special. But if there's any illegitimacy to it, the only word that comes to my mind, Big Perk, is sadness. Because if anybody detects it to be illegitimate, that's going to give people an excuse to question those who have legitimate mental health issues. And I sincerely hope that that's not the case here, Big Perk. That's all I really have to say about that.
You know what? I'm gonna say this, Stephen A. And I'm gonna take you down from a former NBA player, right? Mm-hmm. And what people don't realize is this. People think, oh, they getting paid a lot of money. Oh, they are in the NBA. They got the fortune and the fame and blah, blah, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. Man, listen, the day-to-day things that an NBA player and professional athletes deal with is crazy. So when it comes down to this particular moment, when Ben Simmons said he's not mentally ready to play, mm-hmm. I'm not going to take it as he's saying that he's having mental health problems. I'm just going to take it as of right now he's in a, maybe, and I'm not a doctor, but maybe just in a slight stage of, I just need a little me time to decompress. Because this could be a bit much, right? You know, you trying to hold out, you're not getting paid, you're losing money, your name is all over the media every single day. And here's the thing that I would tell Ben Simmons. Mm-hmm. Paul George went through the same thing in the bubble. Paul George leaned heavily on Doc Rivers And then Paul George threw Doc Rivers under the bus after Doc Rivers, brought him in and talked with him and embraced him like a son, but that's another story. But if I'm Ben Simmons, I would actually, go and try to find someone to talk to, and I would go and talk with Doc. Listen, Stephen A., you know Doc like I know Doc. Man, Doc is a great human being.
Yes, he is.
Doc is a guy that you could pull to the side and you could have a real conversation with. You could share real information with. Forget the basketball, forget the player coaching side of it, but y'all actually could talk man to man. Doc Rivers, I tell a lot of people, he raised me. Because when I got in the league, I was 18 years old. He taught me how to be a man. He taught me how to have a long career in this game. He taught me about routine. He taught me about getting certain people out of my life. He taught me about being a family man. He taught me all of these things. And all I would say is to Ben Simmons is take some time, decompress, because it's sometimes that you got to have those days that say, you know what? I ain't worried about nothing. Forget everything that's going on. I'm going to take the day off.
Here's the deal. Number one, we all know, and we all know how macho players can be. And I don't say that as a negative. I'm saying that handle your business. You're a success. Everybody deems you as a success. And showing you got mental or emotional issues might be a sign of weakness, and they may not want to reveal that. We live in a society today where we encourage you to do otherwise because we understand what a debilitating effect that can cause and how that could have a detrimental effect on you. So I'm certainly not going to summarily dismiss the notion that Ben Simmons, is going through some issues. I'm also, again, we didn't hear it publicly, but he may have told Doc Rivers and Daryl Morey and the 76ers organization he very well was going through this. But nobody said that. That's the point that I'm making. Having said all of that, I'm going to reiterate my point, and I'm not going to be hypocritical about this. Listen, Molly, I confessed months ago I was going through some issues after my mother died. You understand? I was never to say, if it wasn't for y'all, I mean, you two, Perk, Molly, everybody, even Max, the whole crew, my producers here, Ryan Clark, all the guys that I work with, the people, my family and friends. If it wasn't for that, I don't know where I would have been because I was in a very, very dark place because I felt like a part of me had just died after I lost my mother, and I was going through that for a few years. I don't even think depression even brings it into perspective how awful I felt. So that's very real, and I understand that. All I'm emphasizing is that the night that you're supposed to play in front of that home crowd for the first time is when we heard about this. And people in Philadelphia are going to be suspicious about it. What I'm saying is this better be real. It better not be, okay, that's a way for me to stay.
Maybe it's just too overwhelming for him,
right.
too toxic of a situation, and he might not be able to handle it. And I just want to say one thing, because obviously there's the Ben Simmons issue and then the mental health issue.
That's right.
It is a sign of strength to get help.
Absolutely.
It isn't strength to suffer silently in darkness. Strength is to get help or to confide in someone that can give you the right advice.
And I told you that. I went to therapy.
And I applaud you for that. And I appreciate you sharing that testimony as well with the world.
Yeah.
We'll have more on this in a bit, guys. I do have to get in a commercial break, and we'll go on the court with it, too. Is there a team in the NFL this season that has taken everyone by storm besides the Arizona Cardinals? We have someone that says yes. Find out who in just a bit. And Stephen A., shield your eyes. I didn't see this. Shaq took to Instagram last week to clown my guy Stephen A. on his birthday. What Shaq said about LeBron, even hairier. That too. The NFL, are they the real deal?
Yeah, the Bengals are the real deal. I mean, when you look at what Joe Burrow has been able to do, and you think about the parallels between him and Lamar Jackson, and people are going to look at these two dudes and say, okay, they don't play football the same. Joe Burrow can't run the football like Lamar Jackson. But when the Baltimore Ravens look at Lamar Jackson, they look at a football player. See, a lot of times when offenses are on the field, it's like 10 football players and a dude who throws the football or a guy who plays quarterback. That's not what you see when you see Joe Burrow or you see see Lamar Jackson and the belief that the Baltimore Ravens have every day, because they know they go out on the field with one of the most unique talents to ever play this game, but also one of its best leaders in Lamar Jackson. To me, that's the exact same way you feel if you're the Cincinnati Bengals. That's the reason that this team is 4-2. That's the reason that this team actually has an opportunity to be 5-1 if they can just make a kick late in the football game against the Green Bay Packers. To me, this is the game the Cincinnati Bengals have to win. Not just need to win, not just have an opportunity to win, they have to win it. I felt like that game was early on in the season against the Green Bay Packers. They are trying to prove that they belong. They are trying to prove that they are a playoff contender. If you don't start beating some of these teams that people don't expect you to beat, you never get that opportunity. And this is going to be a huge week for the Bengals to prove it, and I believe they have a chance.
Wait, before I get to you, Stephen A., though, RC, are they the biggest surprise, though, this season in the entire NFL?
You know,
what's the hesitation for? Say it with your chest. I mean, what's the hesitation for?
They are. You know what? They are the biggest surprise in the AFC. They are the biggest surprise in the AFC. But did anybody think the Dallas Cowboys would be where they were? Did anybody think that team would be 5-1?
Oh my God! You know, this is what bothers me about Ryan Clark. First of all, let me run. See, again, as I tell people all the time, that's why his face is like that, because he know I'm about to get him. I keep trying to tell y'all. I am brilliant. Because I know I'm not. I listen to those who are.
What is that,
and I
bro?
learn
You
from
say
them.
that all the time.
I learn from them.
Right, I'm with
I
you.
learn from them.
Stop using that quote, because you think you are brilliant.
No, I'm brilliant because I know I'm not. I just listen to those who are. I just listen to those who are.
I'm brilliant because I listen to those that are anti-am brilliant.
Ryan, do you know I could give you your schedule? See, I know when you're on SportsCenter. I know when you show up on NFL Live. I know when you're on Get Up. You know why?
I know your schedule too.
Let me break it down. I know where Ryan is. Because when I want to learn football, I listen to my brother, my Libra brother. And then he comes on First Take and he just throws all of that stuff out of there. Because here's why. Did we not know the Dallas Cowboys were going to be here? Let's count the ways. We know the weapons they got on offense, right? We know the defense was trash last year and couldn't get worse, right? And then on top of it all, you got Jalen Hurts, then Sam Darnold without Christian McCaffrey, then Daniel Jones, all right?
And they changed the subject.
I didn't change the subject. What subject did that change?
And they sound real guilty.
The Arizona Cardinals are the biggest surprise. How's that changing the subject?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you've ever experienced
You know
that,
what, Ryan, she's just acting this way because she hasn't gotten over me and Marcus laughing at her about UConn when she decided to go to UConn Purdue. She hasn't forgiven us for that at all. That's all this is about. That's all this is about.
Getting real loud, getting nervous.
Like I say,
Molly.
what was I saying, Molly? I love the fact that you're a fan of your team, but Stephen A., to the fact that the Arizona Cardinals are here, it means you forgot how they started last season. It means you forgot they added A.J. Green on the outside. It means you forgot they added J.J. Watt in the inside.
6-0.
The Dallas Cowboys are 5-1. The team you always talk about being an accident waiting to happen. A team that has a quarterback coming off of a catastrophic ankle injury. A team that's defense.
And win 12 games.
You can win the... You
and
can
win
win
12
the
games.
NFC East at 7
I picked them to win 12 games this year.
7-10 now.
Okay. I picked them to win 12 games this year. And by the way,
So
I'm
nice
not
of you.
sweating at all. It's Molly got me a facial, and I'm just glowing. I'm just glowing. That's what this is, right? She got me a facial, and I'm just glowing.
You know,
I'm not sweating at all.
Ryan, I was like, is J-Lo on the show today? I mean, I don't even know what is happening right now.
And she got me a facial, man, and the facial was slimming, and I'm
glowing.
glowing right now. I'm glowing.
You get all the dead skin off.
Yo, you need to come. You need to get Molly to get
was
you the
a
facial, bro.
hydrofacial.
It's
was
going
the
to do
real
you
deal.
wonders, man. You know what I'm saying? You see how good I look?
Man, you so bougie now.
Roll the
You know
bump.
you didn't get that growing up in New York
You are a
City.
beautiful mind. Just roll the bump, please, everyone. Oh, my goodness. Up ahead, it may be the biggest debate of the show and the biggest debate all year with the title this season. Will LeBron achieve GOAT status? Perk and Stephen A. Buckle up. Wait to hear what Shaq said. Stephen A., we've been talking a lot about the Philly Nets, but tonight on ESPN, the Lakers host the Suns as well, both looking for their first win. And it's time for some GOAT talk. With that being said, earlier this week, Shaquille O'Neal had some interesting comments about LeBron for the LA Times, saying this: I know what he's doing. Championships are great, but he's trying to pass up Kareem. That's what he's doing. I know exactly what he's doing, because now if you pass Kareem up, There ain't no talk about who the best player ever is. He's got 4 rings, and he becomes the highest scorer in the NBA history. He's the best ever, and there's nothing you can say. Okay, Stephen A. So Shaq says that if LeBron becomes the highest scorer in NBA history, he will be the GOAT. And currently, LeBron needs just under 3,000 points to pass Kareem. So, Stephen A., can LeBron go down as the greatest of all time?
No, not to me. And let me be very clear in addressing Shaquille O'Neal, my little big brother, who I love dearly. That brother knows when he's saying something ignorant, and he just did. And he did it on purpose. I'm going to get him here. And let me tell you why. Because based on what Shaquille O'Neal's description of it, Kendrick Perkins, is, I guess we can say Karl Malone's the best, is the second best player of all time. Karl Malone retired as the second greatest player in NBA history. I mean, that's what we doing now? That's what we doing? It's about points now? That's what we doing? No. It's not just about points. It's about the chip. And it's not just about the chip. It's about the road you travel to get to that point. And where people are missing my point, and I know Kendrick Perkins disagrees, but that's okay. You know, because I understand how phenomenal LeBron is. He's on the Mount Rushmore. I got him number 2 all time in the history of basketball. I mean, stop the presses, Kendrick Perkins. I don't know if you noticed, but this is an incredible insult to the people who love LeBron James. How dare me say he's number 2 all time? I mean, I just sliced his career. I've just discredited him. I've just said, yo, you a scrub. You're horrible. I got him number 2 in the history of basketball since it started being played in 1946 and became the NBA in 1950. I got him number 2 all time. And you would think I've crucified this man, but so be it. Here's the deal. I saw what Jordan had to endure to get to where he was and to stay there. And the NBA game was very different back then, significantly rougher, and the road to prosperity was very, very much harder, okay? And that is what stands out in my mind. To be 6-0 in NBA Finals, all right? 6 NBA Finals MVPs, unblemished in championship round competition. Would have won 8-0 if he hadn't retired after his father passed away. In championship rounds, completely owned the entire decade without a blemish. I'm telling you right now, to me, because of that and because of what I saw from the Bad Boy Pistons, because of what I saw from the Knicks, because of the Cleveland Cavaliers with Mark Price, Larry Nance, Matt Doherty, and those boys, because of all of those teams, the Phoenix Suns, Sean Kemp and Gary Payton in Seattle, Barkley and Marley and Kevin Johnson in Phoenix, and all of that other stuff, what I saw is what I saw. And to me, LeBron can't eclipse that. I'm going to always have MJ number 1 if the question is whether or not LeBron James or him is number 1. It's going to always be MJ for me.
You know why? You know why? Because as you get older, like my grandmother, right, 86 years old, and I go to her house and, you know, sometimes she does things that aggravate me. And I have to remind myself that the old saying, old people are what, Stephen A? They're stuck in their ways.
Stuck in their ways.
Okay? And you know what? And you and I have been having great conversation on here, and we're going to continue to have great conversation today because I'm not going to let you raise my blood pressure up. I'm not about to sit up here and dive into, you know, how much pressure LeBron James had out of probably the most pressure out of any athlete in sports history. I'm not about to go into that today. I'm not about to go into how you just talked about Shaquille O'Neal saying the points and passing up Kareem and left out the fact that he said that he had 4 titles when you tried to make your Karl Malone comparison. I'm not going to even point that out today. But this is what I will tell you.
Kareem has 6 titles, but go ahead.
No. I'm saying you said that's what we're doing now when you were talking about Karl Malone.
Got it.
But Shaq said that he has 4 titles. I think Shaq is telling the truth. And look, here's a problem. This is the problem that I have when you come on here talking about these different eras, okay? I was in that era. I may look way older than LeBron James, and I understand I done gained 70 pounds of retirement weight, and I get all that, right? But we came into the NBA at the same time, where he had to go against a Paul Pierce, a Joe Johnson, a Kobe Bryant, a Dwayne Wade. The list goes on. And I don't want to come on here and discredit Thunder Dan, but do you know what LeBron James would have did to Thunder Dan or Jeff Hornacek
Without question.
or any of those guys? And I don't even want to bring up my guy Kevin Johnson because he just opened up this fabulous restaurant right next door to the ESPN studio, that soul food spot that I went to this past couple of days.
I didn't see that. You got a soul food spot there?
Look.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it's
right on the corner.
Right on the corner. I eat there every day. The oxtails are off the chain, by the way. So listen, here's the thing.
So Shaq, I'm sorry.
Stephen A., we're starting to see multiple players come out and say this. You know, Shaq done said it. We hear the great Magic Johnson starting to lean that way. We hear other former players starting to say the same thing. Sooner or later, you're going to get on board with us, and you're going to realize that LeBron James is just different. No disrespect to Michael Jordan, because I got Michael Jordan number 2 on my list. And by the way, every time you see me, I don't have LeBron on my feet. I have the J's on my feet. I love Michael Jordan. But at the end of the day, LeBron James is just something different. Yeah,
whatever.
We don't have time to fully deal with this because Molly's deal is coming up next. I got to get people paid. Big Perk, it is so good to see you. You haven't been on the show lately. We need you on
too,
more.
Molly.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right.
Howdy.
Plenty more first takes still to come. Where did that come from on this show? But don't forget, Michael Irvin Monday will be here before you know it. Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN. Don't miss it. RC back with us. More football in a hot second. Why the random howdy? Because he's from Texas?
Yeah.